In the headlines of this hour on VTV News. National Innovative Entrepreneurship Day spotlights efforts to build Vietnam's innovation system. And National Assembly debates special consumption tax reforms. In our world news, Turkey seeks U.S. sanctions waiver to continue Russia gas flow.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính attended the 2024 U.S.-Vietnam Business Summit on Wednesday. The Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the American Chamber of Commerce jointly hosted the summit in Hanoi.
The United States is Vietnam's second largest trading partner and largest export market. In the first 10 months of this year, bilateral trade reached nearly 111 billion USD, surpassing last year's record. In a recorded speech, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken emphasized Vietnam's growing global importance and its vital partnership with the United States, noting that cooperation between the two countries has never been stronger. At the summit, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính addressed key global and regional issues, highlighting the growing Vietnam-U.S. relationship founded on putting the past behind, overcoming differences, promoting similarities, and looking toward the future. He also discussed Vietnam's achievements through nearly 40 years of reform. The Prime Minister outlined three main pillars, 6 priority tasks, and 3 strategic breakthroughs that will guide the country toward a new era of prosperity and strength.
We continue to build a legal framework to promote economic, trade, and investment relations between the two countries, creating more favorable conditions for businesses to invest in both nations. Once again, I thank you all for being here today. Your presence is even more meaningful when it translates into tangible projects, programs, and products that bring measurable benefits to businesses and citizens, fostering a strong and positive relationship between Vietnam and the United States.
During the summit, the Prime Minister urged the United States to promptly recognize Vietnam as a market economy and remove restrictions related to the export of high technology to Vietnam. These changes would benefit both nations and contribute to addressing the consequences of war.
Optimistic about the future.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính also attended the opening ceremony of the National Innovative Entrepreneurship Day Tech Fest Vietnam 2024 on Wednesday afternoon in Hai Phong City. The event's theme was joining hands to develop Vietnam's innovative startup ecosystem.
At the event, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính emphasized that innovative startups are a driving force for development and growth in the new era, creating new productive forces. The Prime Minister noted that the Party and State of Vietnam prioritize science, technology, and innovation as crucial elements for rapid and sustainable development. On behalf of the government, the Prime Minister acknowledged and commended the efforts and initial achievements made by various levels, sectors, localities, and Vietnam's startup innovation community. In the spirit of innovating to soar high, creating to reach far, integrating to thrive, the Prime Minister highlighted 6 key tasks and solutions to strengthen the startup innovation ecosystem.
The government is committed to supporting and facilitating innovation through several key initiatives. Firstly, we will build an open institutional framework, seamless infrastructure, and intelligent governance with a centralized management model that ensures streamlined processes for innovative startups, minimizing bureaucracy, fragmentation, and time wastage. Additionally, we will create markets for innovation with stable and long-term policies to reassure businesses and encourage sustained investment. Third, we will implement support policies for housing, visas, travel, and preferential funding, while also establishing regulations for capital mobilization through stock exchange platforms.
highlighting the Three Together motto, including united in spirit, acting as one, and sharing the rewards. The Prime Minister expressed confidence that innovative startups will achieve even greater success, contributing to the nation's steady advancement into an era of prosperity and wealth under the leadership of the Communist Party of Vietnam.
Now, during discussions on the draft law on special consumption tax on Wednesday afternoon, the National Assembly called for careful consideration to balance budget revenue increases with economic growth. More to follow.
Some National Assembly deputies proposed a phased increase for alcohol products, emphasizing the need for careful timing considerations regarding beer taxes.
The rapid increase in tax rates for beer and alcohol products poses challenges for businesses already investing in Vietnam. These businesses are unable to adjust production capacity in a short period if further increases in special consumption tax rates are implemented in the near future. It will undoubtedly have a significant impact on factories and workers.
If the tax rate is based on alcohol content, under the premise that higher alcohol levels pose greater health risks, why is the tax rate for beer higher than that of liquor? The drafting committee should provide further clarification on this issue.
We need to reconsider the plan to increase taxes on beer. In my opinion, the tax should be raised, but at a lower rate to ensure it is more reasonable.
Regarding the special consumption tax policy for automobiles, some deputies expressed interest in the deduction and refund policies for specialized vehicles.
Some businesses have resorted to exporting commercial vehicles abroad to be converted into ambulances and then re-importing those same vehicles. Manufacturers purchasing these inputs have already paid the tax through the purchase price of the vehicles. I propose implementing a mechanism for the deduction and refund of special consumption taxes paid on inputs for businesses that use commercial vehicles to produce specialized vehicles.
The National Assembly also approved amendments to the law on health insurance and passed a resolution on the investment policy for the National Target Program on Drug Prevention and Control through 2030.
A commemorative event was held on November 27th in Phie province to mark the 60th anniversary of Vũng Rô Port receiving its first cargo shipment from the legendary unnumbered ship. Politburo member, Secretary of the Party Central Committee and Chairman of the Party Central Committee's Commission for Information and Education, Nguyễn Trọng Nghĩa, visited the celebration to present gifts to war veterans who defended the port and ships. He emphasized that their heroic defense efforts have become a shining symbol of revolutionary heroism. A ceremony marking the 80th anniversary of the founding of the Vietnamese People's Army was held in Tokyo, Japan on November 27th. Japanese Defense Minister Gen Nakatani and General Yoshihide Yoshida, Chief of Staff of the Japan Self-Defense Forces, attended the event, alongside representatives from embassies and defense attachés from various countries. The Japanese Defense Minister emphasized the importance of elevating Vietnam-Japan relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership to promote peace and prosperity in Asia and worldwide. He noted that defense cooperation serves as both an essential pillar and driving force in the broader Vietnam-Japan relationship. Now, after a year of construction, Long Thanh Airport's terminal, runway and control tower have made significant progress, with major structures beginning to take shape. Spanning 5,000 hectares in Dong Nai province, Long Thanh is expected to become the largest airport in Vietnam. More than 5,000 workers and machinery have been working round the clock to ensure timely completion.
Currently, Long Thanh Airport's facilities, including the cargo terminal, aviation logistics area, warehouses, aircraft cleaning station, aircraft maintenance area, and in-flight catering complex, are being constructed. They're all part of the fourth component, which accounts for more than 90% of the airport project's value. Nearly 5,000 engineers, workers, and more than 6,500 pieces of equipment and machinery have been deployed at the construction site to complete the project on schedule.
The construction of the airport runways has reached 80% completion. They are expected to be completed and put into operation by April 30, 2025.
The core structures of the airport station have been completed. Now we are progressing on the steel frame for the terminal's 3 wings, with completion of the main roof structure expected by the end of this year.
To ensure efficient and safe operations, the government has proposed constructing a second runway at Long Thanh International Airport. The Airports Corporation of Vietnam will fund the second runway using its own resources.
Additional runways will increase the airport's capacity by about 15%. The total investment for the second runway is estimated at nearly $140 million USD, and our financial resources are available.
The Ministry of Transport has expedited construction of 4 highways and 3 railway lines connecting to Long Thanh Airport. The first phase is set to begin operations in 2026, with a capacity to handle 25 million passengers and 1.5 million tons of cargo annually.
Vietnam stands out as a bright spot in implementing sustainable development goals. Now, according to the Ministry of Planning and Investment's assessment report on the National Action Plan of 2030, Vietnam ranked 54th out of 166 countries this year. The country's Sustainable Development Index scored 73 points, higher than the global average, placing it second in Southeast Asia. Vietnam excelled particularly in goals related to poverty elimination, quality education, sustainable urban and rural development, and effective responses to climate change and natural disasters. Coming up next on VTV News. Quảng Nam evacuates residents from landslide-prone areas. And Vietnamese spring rolls spark food craze in Malaysia. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, authorities in Quảng Nam province have relocated 10 households from Cha Bui commune, Bắc Trà My district, after discovering cracks more than 1 meter deep and 50 meters long across residents' yards. The affected families have been transported to temporary shelters at the commune's primary school or to relatives' homes in safer areas. Heavy rains have persisted in Bắc Trà My district in recent days, with rainfall reaching nearly 300 millimeters. Landslides have deposited over 2,000 cubic meters of soil and rocks onto roads leading to Cha Bui center. Additionally, a 40-meter section of concrete road in Village 6 has completely collapsed. Authorities are now working urgently to clear the debris and restore safe travel conditions. The Viet-built international exhibition in Hanoi themed interior and exterior decoration, architecture, real estate, and construction materials is now underway at the National Exhibition Center for Architecture, Planning, and Construction. The event features nearly 800 booths from domestic and international businesses, showcasing numerous innovative, green, and renewable technologies with creative, eco-friendly features. Visitors and businesses can explore emerging trends in construction and architecture, contributing to the recovery of the real estate sector following the enactment of new land and property laws. Mountainous provinces in Vietnam are home to many ethnic groups, and after recognizing the economic burden and waste caused by outdated practices, many local governments have implemented policies to address these issues. Let's explore how Hà Giang province's efforts to eliminate outdated customs are improving residents' quality of life.
After his grandfather's death, this man faced an important decision. Local tradition called for weeks-long funeral ceremonies with extensive livestock slaughter for feasts. Instead, breaking from outdated practices, he opted for a simpler, modern funeral service. This choice saved his family thousands of dollars.
We held a small ceremony and then promptly organized the burial. I see this as a convenient and modern practice.
This man organized his son's wedding according to modern customs. By hosting a single reception with only a few dozen banquet tables, his family saved up to over $10,000.
What's worth keeping should be preserved, and what's unnecessary should be discarded. This approach saves us a lot of time.
If we can eliminate outdated customs, we will undoubtedly enhance cultural and spiritual life, and from there, reduce poverty. Outdated practices make it extremely difficult to escape poverty.
Outdated customs and practices have severely impacted the regional economy, trapping many households in cycles of poverty and debt. Families often borrow money and resources to cover ceremonial costs, leading to severe financial hardship. The effort to abolish these customs and promote modern, practical lifestyles among ethnic communities fights wastefulness and creates opportunities for a more prosperous future.
In the Central Highlands provinces, ethnic groups preserve their traditional cultural values through cultural heritage preservation and community-based tourism. Many century-old villages have successfully adopted this approach, attracting visitors with festivals, rich folklore traditions, and unique folk songs.
This village is home to over 200 households. Its traditional values are thriving amidst the bustle of modern life. Villagers remain united in preserving the precious heritage of their ancestors. The resonant sounds of the gongs are heard regularly, sustained by the Jarai people's passion for traditional culture.
We are delighted to teach people about gong playing and shuang dancing.
Jarai province has focused on investing in infrastructure and comprehensive transportation. These efforts aim to preserve century-old villages and establish cultural tourism villages. Villagers are deeply aware of the importance of preserving the unique culture of the Jarai people.
We use culture as our foundation, particularly the community traditions of Zalai ethnic groups and Gong culture. By transforming cultural resources into economic opportunities, we can encourage people to preserve and promote cultural values.
The Jarai community is banding together to teach younger generations how to preserve and promote their cultural heritage through tourism and immersive experiences. They hope to ensure the longevity of this rich, century-old village in the Jarai Highlands.
In July, Vietnam's spring rolls earned recognition as one of the world's most enticing snacks by the culinary site Taste Atlas. Not only popular in Vietnam, these rolls have recently become a culinary craze in Malaysia. It's not uncommon to see long lines of people waiting to buy Vietnamese spring rolls, labeled Vietnamese rolls, at shops. What makes these Vietnamese spring rolls so irresistible to local diners in Malaysia? Let's explore some of the popular Vietnamese spring roll shops in Malaysia.
At 3:30 p.m., Hamizan and Syahira, a young Malaysian couple, begin setting up their mobile spring roll shop at Temerloh Market, located over 100 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur. Customers start arriving 15 minutes earlier, forming a long queue. The shop consists of just 2 tables joined together, displaying plastic containers filled with pre-made spring rolls, primarily for takeout, and operates for only 1 hour a day. For the past 6 months, this couple has consistently sold around 1,000 rolls daily.
We've never been to Vietnam.
The idea came to me after I accidentally watched a tutorial video on making Vietnamese spring rolls by a Vietnamese YouTuber. At first glance, it seemed very simple, but I failed quite a few times, especially when it came to rolling them neatly without breaking. Eventually, I discovered that dipping the rice paper in water makes it easier to roll tightly and beautifully.
Traditional Vietnamese spring rolls often use pork as their main filling. However, since most Malaysians follow Islam, Gilan Kahaya from Kelantan creatively adapted the recipe to better suit local tastes.
We've expanded to 12 varieties because many people don't eat pork. I've replaced it with fillings like beef, chicken, crab sticks, salmon, and smoked duck, paired with lettuce, cucumber, and sohun.
Because we don't eat fish sauce, I created 2 types of dipping sauces. One is a Thai-style sauce with a sour, sweet, and spicy flavor. The other is a green sauce, offering a creamy and spicy taste.
4 rolls with customizable fillings cost 13 ringgit, and adding sauce costs just 2 ringgit more. Convenient and reasonably priced, Vietnamese spring rolls have become a popular lunch choice for young people in Malaysia.
I eat Vietnamese spring rolls 3 times a week. The rolls include various fresh greens, making them a light, nutritious dish that aligns perfectly with the modern lifestyle young Malaysians like us are pursuing. I really hope to visit Vietnam someday to experience more of its delicious cuisine.
Simply searching the keywords Vietnam roll on TikTok reveals countless videos of young Malaysians sharing their experiences with this Vietnamese dish. This not only helps promote Vietnamese cuisine, but also serves as a cultural bridge between the 2 nations.
Coming up next in our world news. Turkey seeks U.S. sanctions waiver to continue Russia gas flow. And Russia expels British diplomat for alleged espionage. Now moving on to our world news. Turkey is in talks with the United States and Russia in an attempt to secure a U.S. sanctions waiver so it can continue paying Gazprom Bank for Russian natural gas imports. The move came after Washington imposed new sanctions on Russia's Gazprom Bank on November 21st. According to the Turkish energy minister, the new U.S. sanctions on Gazprom Bank will greatly affect Turkey. Turkey imports almost all its gas needs, and Russia is the top supplier, providing about 42% of its pipeline imports in 2023. Russian gas supplies to Turkey are carried out via the Turkish Stream and Blue Stream, and the country has used the Russian Gazprom Bank to pay for natural gas imports. Russia has expelled a British diplomat who worked at the embassy in Moscow, accusing him of spying. Russia's foreign ministry alleged that the British diplomat Edward Whites intentionally provided false information to enter the country as a cover for espionage work, thereby violating Russian law. Now, according to the Russian Federal Security Service, Whites was allegedly sent to Moscow to replace one of the 6 British diplomats accused of spying in August. His activities show signs of intelligence and subversive work that threaten national security. The Russian Foreign Ministry on Tuesday also banned 30 British citizens from entering Russia's territory. Relations between Britain and Russia have plunged to post-Cold War lows since the conflict between Russia and Ukraine broke out in 2022. Global rates of HIV infections and deaths related to the virus have dropped sharply in recent years, marking significant progress in the fight against the disease. However, health experts warn that this epidemic is still far from being wiped out entirely from the globe. Now, according to the Lancet HIV journal, the number of global HIV infections declined by a fifth during the 2010s. HIV-related deaths fell by about 40% to below 1 million a year, and this decline was mainly driven by improving rates in sub-Saharan Africa. Meanwhile, other regions such as Eastern Europe and the Middle East saw the HIV numbers increase. Researchers say that the world remains far from United Nations' target of virtually eradicating AIDS-related deaths by 2030. South Korea's capital has been blanketed by the heaviest November snowfall since the records began over a century ago. The snow knocked out power, disrupted transportation, grounded flights, and left at least 2 people dead.
The Korea Meteorological Administration said 16.5 centimeters of snow fell by 7 a.m. on Wednesday, compared with Seoul's previous record of 12.4 centimeters on the 28th of November, 1972. It was the heaviest snowfall since records began in 1907.
This is the first time I've seen the first snow of the season this heavy, and I was surprised. It seems like it's becoming impossible to predict the weather these days. The weather was hot, so I wore short sleeves, but suddenly the weather became so cold and there's so much snow.
I heard that it was going to snow today, so I decided to wear thermal underwear and to put on gloves, which I don't usually wear. If this kind of weather continues, I think I'll need to dress more warmly from now on.
I'm happy to see the first snow of the season, and it is snowing a lot, but I think the extreme weather is quite serious. It seems like environmental pollution has contributed to this.
According to Seoul's Meteorology Forecast Division, the heavy snowfall was caused by a significant temperature difference between the sea surface and the cold air. More than 300 flights were cancelled or delayed at airports across the country, while nearly 100 ferries serving islands were suspended.
Now, as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.